Hey, welcome to Blake's Boats and Bivouacs. Today we're getting ready for the spring fishing season by switching out the Honda 8 for a Honda 15. So here's our Polar Craft, and with one person I get about 18 miles an hour with this 8-horse motor on here. And with, you know, if I load it up with 3 or 4 people, then I'm down to maybe 12 miles an hour. So we are going to switch the 8 out for a 15. The holes should line up exactly the same. We shouldn't have to do much to switch it out. And just like that, the new motor is on. You can see it looks identical to the 8-horse, but this is a 15. Ben Dorman, salesman at Redding Boat Works that I deal with. They're very good with repeat customers, and you can see the bolt pattern lined right up. So there were no reason, we didn't need to drill any new holes or anything. It just fit right on there. So there we go. All right, in order to break in the motor, what are we gonna do, Callan?
We're gonna fire up the motor.
All right, let's check it out and see. So we got the water on there. We're ready to give it a pull. You wanna hold the camera and I'll start it?
Huh? What do you want me to do?
Come over here and hold the camera.
Okay.
You want to hold it so you can see the motor in there, okay?
Okay.
You want to see the whole motor. All right, let's give her a pull and see what happens.
How do you give it juice?
We're going to take her up to Blue Marsh. Now there's a specific procedure we have to go through to break in the motor properly, and that's what we're going to do today. So come along, let's check it out. So 47 degrees starting off today in April. I got the jacket on, but we are at the boat ramp, and the Corps of Engineers doesn't have the main ramps in, but PA Fish and Boat leases a spot at the top of the lake in the no wake zone, and their docks are in. So I just dumped the boat in, and right there she sits. We're gonna start breaking in that motor. Get her started. That's a little too low. Now I'm going to adjust it. So there's the adjustments. I'm going to pull that out a little further so it doesn't drop down as far. So that looks a little better, so we'll try it there. See, I'm in the 3rd notch. So we'll see if she starts. Pump the ball, make sure there's gas in there, make sure the air can get into the tank, put the choke on, and have this all the way back. So start is completely at idle. You pull the choke. See if she starts. One pull. Start it right up. We'll let her warm up a little. Peeing, so that's a good sign. And once she warms up, we'll push that choke in. Now notice I pulled that with one hand and the other hand holds the camera. So that's a pretty easy engine to start, especially since it's 46 degrees this morning. So we're pretty pleased with it so far. Now she's idling. Now the way I have this boat set up, I built that deck on the front, have my rod holders, and the anchor's way up in the bow. So for the break-in period, the first piece is, the break-in period total is 10 hours. For the first thing we gotta do, the first 15 minutes, we run the engine at trolling speed using minimum throttle. So that's what we're gonna do now. Backing away from the dock. Okay, so in Pennsylvania, between October and the end of April, you must have a life jacket on in smaller boats because of the incidence of death from people falling overboard in ice cold water. So you can see I have my Type 5 life jacket on. Now I have both the manual type and the auto inflate. Whenever I'm on a boat alone, I always have the auto inflate on. I also have my automatic engine shut off around my wrist. So if I would fall overboard, the engine will shut off and the boat won't run away from me. So those are really important safety tips, especially if you're boating in cooler weather and cold water. Remember to always dress for the temperature of the water, not the temperature of the air. All right, so we got 10 minutes of idling. We're just gonna idle right down through here. Now this is all a no wake zone, so we can't go fast anyway. But the motor's running well. You can see between 3 and 4 miles an hour. Got about another 4 minutes or so. And then we move to step 2 and breaking in the motor. So our next step after the 15 minutes of this speed is to run. For the next 45 minutes, we run 2,000 to 3,000 RPMs with no more than 50% of the time at 3,000 RPMs. And that's about 10 to 30% of throttle. So that'll be our next step, and we'll do that for 45 minutes. Really looking forward to summer. Winters seem longer and longer. Guys fishing for bass over there. It is opening weekend of trout, and there are some trout in here that spill down in from the creek, but you typically don't fish here for trout. So far the motor is performing well. Really curious to see how she does once we can throttle her up, but I want to make sure we go through that break-in period so that the motor runs the way it's supposed to, so we don't skimp out on that. We make sure we follow those instructions on how to break the motor in. That is your BBB tip of the day. When buying a new motor, follow the break-in procedures. But you can see this little 14-footer really turned it into quite the fishing machine. Okay, so now that we got that out of the way, we are going to run the boat for 45 minutes between 10% and 30% of throttle. So let's see how that looks. I could get 18 miles an hour out of the 8-horse. So these Honda motors with the 4-blade prop really do well. But this 15 is not even struggling. I mean, I'm at 30% and I'm running 15 miles an hour. So this is a nice pairing for this boat with this motor. So we'll do this for 45 minutes. Okay, so we got that section out of the way. So now, for the next 60 minutes, we need to run the engine 4,000 to 5,000 RPMs, which is 50 to 80% of power. And we can do 30-second full throttle bursts, but don't operate continuously at full throttle. It says if boats plane easily, bring it up on plane and then back down on the throttle. And then after that 60 minutes, then the rest is just 8 hours of only bursting full throttle for 5 minutes. So we can do that at any time. So we got 60 more minutes to go at the 50 to 80 with an occasional burst of full throttle. So let's check it out. Okay, here we go. So you can see on that burst, we went to 23 miles an hour, but I felt it pushing the bow down in. So I'm gonna make an adjustment on where the engine rides and then we'll try it again. So let's shut the motor down and we'll do that. See how we do. Okay, so I adjusted that to the 4th spot. So we'll see how it does this time. You can see we got that to 24 and it was riding much better up on the bow, so I think that's going to be a good setting. I might try it all the way out, but I feel like that's the best setting for it, so we'll run it like that for now. So here we go. So we got 24 miles an hour. So that's pretty impressive for the 15 horse on here. I'm pleased with the way it performs, and what I do know now is if I have 4 people on here, I can adequately push the boat across the water. So that's really helpful. And because I bought this 15, the next boat that I get, that I've already kind of figured out which one I want, I can just keep this motor and switch it over, so I don't have to break in another motor. I just switch out the boat. So probably next year we're going to switch the boat out. The motor break-in was successful. It ran really well. So there is the Honda 15, and she is ready for service. So with that, we're going to end it. Hey, if this video helped you, consider subscribing to the channel. It's free. It helps me out a lot. Also, ring that bell. You'll be notified every time I put up a new video, and give the video a thumbs up. That helps it be seen by a wider audience. But more important than all that, go have some fun out there. Hey, thanks for watching. What do you think about the new motor?